What if I told you there are 3 simple words, not I love you, that can instantly draw a woman closer to you? Words that bypass small talk. Tap into something emotional, real, and almost magnetic. These aren't pickup lines or gimmicks. They're like secret keys to her inner world. And when you use them, something shifts. Her eyes light up. Her body language changes. You feel it. And so does she. Now imagine you're out for coffee with someone you've wanted to get closer to. She's laughing. You're connecting, and then you say these words. Suddenly, the atmosphere changes. She leans in. You've unlocked something powerful. That, my friend, is not manipulation. That's the art of making someone feel truly seen. And that's what today's video is all about. I'm going to reveal what these 3 magic words are, why they work like emotional superglue, and how you can use them in any kind of relationship, from a first date to a marriage that needs its spark back. Welcome to Stoicism Drive, the place to cut through the noise. Delve into personal growth and human connection. If you're here to improve your life, love and understand people, you've come to the right place. If you've been with me before, welcome back. You showing up here week after week means the world to me. Now, let's get into it. Section 1, Why Emotional Connection Wins Every Time. Before we get into the actual words, let's take a moment to understand why they work so powerfully. At the heart of every meaningful relationship, whether romantic, platonic, or even professional, is something called emotional intimacy. This isn't just a fluffy feel-good concept, it's the glue that holds people together. Think about the last time you felt truly close to someone. Was it because of what they said? Probably not. It was because of how they made you feel. Maybe they listened without judgment. Maybe they asked a question that made you feel seen. Or maybe they were just fully present with you in that moment, and you could tell. That's emotional connection. And it's more than just making someone smile. It's about making them feel safe, understood, and valued. It invites trust. It opens the door for vulnerability. And that's the kind of connection that lasts. Let me give you a quick example. Imagine you're on a date, talking about your favorite travel spots. She tells you about a trip that meant a lot to her. Now, you could just say, "That's cool. But that doesn't really do anything." Instead, imagine saying, "That sounds amazing. What was it about that trip that made it so special for you?" Do you see the difference? You're not just responding, you're inviting her to share more. You're showing that you care about what she experienced, not just the surface level details. And when someone feels that from you, the connection deepens immediately. Here's the truth, people remember how you make them feel, not just what you say. And the words I'll reveal in this video are designed to make the other person feel like they truly matter. So before we move on, I want you to keep this in mind. Emotional connection is the foundation of every strong relationship. It's not optional, it's essential. And when you master that, the words themselves become even more powerful. Section 2. The first word, you. Let's start with the first word, you. At first glance, it may seem too simple, almost underwhelming. But don't let that fool you. This little word is more powerful than it looks. When used intentionally, you has the ability to shift the entire dynamic of a conversation. It takes the spotlight off of you and puts it where it belongs, on the other person. Think back to the last time someone made you feel truly special. What did they say or do? Chances are, they focused the conversation on you. They asked about your experiences, your feelings, your perspective. And in doing so, they made you feel like you mattered. That's the power of you. Let me give you a real-world example. Imagine you're on a date and instead of going on about your own interests, you say something like, "You have such fascinating hobbies, what inspired you to start doing that?" See what happened? You've instantly shifted the focus onto her. You're inviting her to talk about herself. And more importantly, you're showing genuine interest in what lights her up inside. Here's another one. Say you're at a party. and someone mentions they just completed a big project. Most people would say, "That's awesome." But you go one step further. You must be so proud of that. What was the most fulfilling part of the process for you? Now you're not just making conversation, you're creating connection. Why does this work? Because you taps into a fundamental human need, the need to feel seen. We all want to be noticed. To feel like someone is actually paying attention to us, not just nodding politely while thinking about what to say next. When you use you intentionally, you make the other person feel valued. But here's a tip: don't overuse it. Don't throw you into every sentence like a checklist. Use it meaningfully. When paired with curiosity and empathy, it becomes a mirror that reflects back someone's worth. And tone matters too. When you say it, look them in the eye. Smile. Lean in a little. These non-verbal cues show that your words are sincere. So the next time you're having a conversation, whether it's with a partner, a friend, or even a stranger, remember this: the more someone feels like the center of your attention, the more they'll want to stay connected with you. And it all starts with one simple word: you. Section 3, the second word, feel. If you turns the spotlight toward the other person, then feel turns that light inward, toward their emotional truth. It's not just about what happened, but about how it landed inside them. And that's where real connection begins. When you ask someone how they feel, you're saying, "I care about more than just the facts. I care about your experience, your emotions, what it meant to you." That, my friend, is rare and powerful. Think about it. When was the last time someone genuinely asked, "How did that make you feel?" Not as small talk, not as a formality, but with real curiosity. If it stood out, it's because emotional attention is uncommon and unforgettable. Let me give you a real-world example. You're on a date. She opens up about a rough situation at work. Most people might respond with a quick "that sucks," or try to fix the problem. But you pause, you make eye contact, and then you say, "That sounds incredibly frustrating. How have you been feeling through all of it?" Boom. You just created emotional safety. You didn't try to solve anything. You didn't rush the moment. You gave her space to feel, to share, to trust. And here's the beautiful part: that kind of emotional space is magnetic. It makes people lean in, open up, and remember you long after the conversation ends. But this isn't just for heavy topics. You can use feel when celebrating too. Let's say she just landed a dream job. Instead of, "Wow, congrats," which anyone can say, you go a step further. "That's amazing. How did it feel when you got the offer?" Now you're not just acknowledging the win. You're joining her emotional high. Here's another trick: use feel in reflective statements to show you're tuned in. I can imagine that must have felt overwhelming at first, but also kind of empowering. Right? It shows empathy and emotional intelligence, and that's an irresistible combination. Pro tip: the word feel works best when your tone matches your intention. Slow down. Lower your voice slightly. Let your curiosity come through your body language, not just your words. When people sense you care how they feel, their defenses drop. So the next time you're in a conversation, on a date, with a friend, or even in a work setting, remember this: don't just hear their words. Ask how they felt living them. Because when you do that, you don't just connect, you resonate. And that's where relationships deepen. Section 4, the third word, because. Now let's move on to the third magic word, because. At first, this one might surprise you. It doesn't sound emotional. It's not poetic or romantic. But don't underestimate it, because it's the word that brings depth. It gives your words weight. And that's what makes them stick. Here's the deal: people don't just want to be complimented. They want to understand why the compliment feels real. When you give someone a reason behind your words, it doesn't just sound nice, it feels sincere. Let me show you how powerful that is. You could say to someone, "You're amazing." Sure, it's nice, but it's generic. They've heard it before. Now try this instead. You're amazing, because you have this incredible way of seeing the world that most people miss. See the difference? You're not just handing out praise, you're anchoring it in something specific, personal, and meaningful. It shows you've been paying attention, that you notice what makes them unique. And that's unforgettable. Let's look at another example. You're at a networking event. Someone just gave a great presentation. Most people say, "Great job." But you say, "Great job," because you explained such a complex topic in a way that made everyone feel smart and engaged. Now your words have substance. They tell a story. They make the other person feel seen for something real, not just applauded out of habit. Here's why this works. The human brain loves reasons, even small ones. Research has shown that when you add because to a statement, people are more likely to trust it, remember it, and connect with it emotionally. Pro tip: don't just save because for compliments. Use it in questions. 2. Instead of asking, "Why did you choose that career?" try, "What made you choose that career?" because it seems like such a perfect fit for your personality. Now you're not just asking for information. You're reflecting insight. You're showing them you've thought about their journey, and that creates instant rapport. And tone matters. As always, say because like you mean it. With intention. With eye contact. A sincere smile goes a long way. Here's one more powerful example. Let's say someone's doubting a decision they made. Instead of saying, "You did the right thing," say, "You absolutely made the right call, because you trusted your instincts. And that's something I really admire about you." Suddenly, you've turned reassurance into recognition. You're not just comforting them, you're affirming their inner strength. So whether you're giving praise, asking a deeper question, or offering encouragement, the word "because" helps your words land with purpose. It adds meaning, it shows thoughtfulness, and most importantly, it makes the other person feel understood. And when people feel understood, they feel safe, they feel connected. And that's what this is all about. Section 5, putting it all together. Now that you know the 3 magic words, you, feel, and because, let's talk about how to use them together in real conversations. Because here's the truth, while each word is powerful on its own, they become unstoppable when combined with intention and emotional presence. Let me walk you through an example. Imagine you're on a date. She's telling you about a trip she took that meant a lot to her. Most people would nod and say, "That sounds fun." But you lean in, smile, and say, "You have such a beautiful way of describing things, it feels like I'm right there with you. What was it about that trip that made it so special for you? Because it sounds like it really touched you deeply." Let's break that down. You used you to center her experience. You used feel to acknowledge emotion. And you used because to give your comment meaning and depth. That's not small talk. That's real talk. That's the kind of moment people remember. Let's try another scenario. You're talking to a friend at a party. They've had a rough year, and they mention they've been doing their best to stay strong. Instead of just saying "That's tough," you say, "You've been through so much, and I can only imagine how overwhelming it must have felt. What helped you stay strong through it all?" Because the way you carry yourself is honestly inspiring. Again, you're not just responding. You're connecting. You're making them feel seen in a way that very few people do. Here's how you can practice this. Become aware of how often you talk about yourself. Shift your focus, ask about them. Follow up with questions like, "How did that make you feel?" "You must have felt because." Pro tip: don't force these words into every sentence. Use them when they naturally fit. When you do, they land with impact. Let's close with one last example. Someone's uncertain about a recent decision. You say, "You made a really brave choice, because you trusted your instincts, even when it wasn't easy." How does it feel knowing you followed your gut? That sentence connects on every level. If you've made it this far, that tells me something about you. You value deep connection and growth. That's what this channel is all about. Like this video, it helps others find it. Comment, have you used these magic words? Share your story. Subscribe for more tools on life, love, and personal growth. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, be kind, and keep making real connections. See you next time.